Hey guys, this is going to be a review on how to use some of the how to use that visual drag and drop editor that we were talking about in our meeting called Visual Composer. So I thought we'd start, and don't worry, this is the staging site. You can see the URL here. It's not your regular URL. But I know the VIP Lounge was one of those pages that we talked about that needed some help. So I thought we'd just start here as the example. So of course in the back end we come down here to Pages in the menu, and then we pick the page that we need. This is probably the view that you're used to, but there are now these buttons up here at the top. So the one that we want to pick is this one that's called Back End Editor, and we click that, and now we get sort of a different view here. And to edit it, to edit any block now in the back end, you see this overlay of this green button, and so the pencil here would be to edit that. When you click that, it comes up, and that's probably a lot like what you're used to as well. You can resize this thing, see a different, resize the window as needed to give yourself some room to work in. The part that isn't quite the same is what we can do here. You'll see right here, it lets us choose the number of columns and how those columns are split for this whole block right here. So, when I look at this, it's a little bit boring, I guess. We could come right here and we could say, let's make this half and half block. And then we could also just come here and say, let's add another row up above or down below, and we can drag these things around, right? We can click right here on this cross and we can move these things up or down in the list. So let's go ahead and move some of this around. We're going to take this and we'll take this top part here and let's cut that out. And we'll hit save there. And now up in this upper block, we're going to put that in up here. So in this upper block now, we're going to need a text block. And now we can select all that, and we can paste in what we copied from before. So if we hit update here, you can see it's actually not going to look a lot different. This is now in its own block. And probably what I would then do is maybe drag this guy over here, and then over in this area we could add an image. So we hit the plus button there, we come right here to where it says single image, click that. Let's come here and let's pick just any old image for the time being, since we don't have a picture of the VIP room. It doesn't really matter, I guess. I'm thinking about this too hard. Let's throw in this balloon image right here. It says image size thumbnail. We're just going to go ahead and change that to full size. We'll hit save changes and let's see what happens there. Update. Well, that's probably not the best example. So I went ahead and I found something a little bit better here. Let's just get rid of this guy. What we're going to be using is probably something a little more like along the lines of this. We click right here, we say save image, set image. We see a little tiny preview of it there. We've still left this to full. We'll hit save changes, we hit update. We come back to the front end and refresh. There, this is more like what we're looking for. So you can continue to do this kind of thing to just add some interest and a little bit more of a dynamic look to the page. We could do a little bit of back and forth here. We've added another row. Let's just do the same thing again. We'll split this one in half. We'll come over here and maybe let's go ahead and pull this block out of here. Save. Now let's just do a back and forth. We'll add a text block over here. Paste that in. Over here, we'll add another image. Again, we'll say that we want this to be full size. And, whatever it might be. Again, I can't seem to, I know we're not going to put a shot of a movie in there, but there it is. Let's hit update and see what happens. We'll refresh. now you can see we have, the text broken up a little bit. We've got a little more interest going on with the page. What I would suggest as you revisit some of these pages is, at the moment, it seems like you have all of these headlines that are just done as text. When I stick my cursor in here, it just says paragraph. And so, especially when it has keywords in it like reserved seating or amenities, we should turn these into headlines. So if we turn that into an H2, not only does it provide some styling basics, if we go ahead and hit update on here, and we come back to the VIP lounge, we can see now that it has made this larger and all capitals. And beyond that, it has also then tagged this for Google as a headline, and it knows that if somebody's searching for reserved seating at a cinema in Roseburg, that this is the page that it should serve up for them in a Google search result page. So there are some of the basics about using the Visual Composer. All of these things are, as I showed you before, but we'll just revisit it again. You can just take these blocks, you can move them back and forth between these columns. If we wanted this column to have even more to it, we can make it thirds instead of halves, and then we could, move all of these things around so that there are not a very pleasant layout, I don't think, but you can just see here how flexible that is in terms of making columns out of stuff. And all of these columns then, when you move to a mobile device, then would stack so that you have still a very visible and usable site on a mobile device. I think that is it for this part of it. I'm gonna see if there's another video or two that needs to be made. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and mock up what a mega menu would look like on here for some of that, and we'll be sending that on to you hopefully early next week. Thanks.